everyone, welcome back to Allcarnews. And just last year, we were able to test the all-new Subaru Forester in the touring specification. Though for this year, we have a new engine option available for the popular Forester lineup, and it is now a hybrid. And this is the first Forester hybrid we're ever getting in the United States, and it's coming alongside the all-new Subaru Crosstrek hybrid as well. And over my week of testing, I think this might be the most refined, comfortable, and feature-rich Forester we've almost ever seen here in the United States. So of course, in this video, I'm going to take you on a full tour of all of the cool features and a lot of unique features that the Subaru Forester hybrid gets versus the regular gas Forester, and why I think you should consider this hybrid SUV versus the many competitors in the market right now. Let's go dive in. Now, Subaru wanted to do something a little bit special with this all-new Subaru Forester hybrid we have here, and unlike its main competitors, such as a Toyota RAV4 hybrid or the all-new Mazda CX-50 hybrid, for example, this has still a full mechanical all-wheel drive system, Subaru's famed Symmetrical all-wheel drive, and Subaru's also proud that they still have their Boxer engine under the hood, offering all of those incredible benefits of having a nice low center of gravity, as well as a smooth operation in this particular hybrid case here. And I have to say, this is one of the smoothest Subaru systems I've experienced so far, and one of the smoothest hybrid systems I've actually experienced so far out of the many hybrid SUVs in this segment now. And since this has a full-time all-wheel drive system, unlike the RAV4 or CX-50 hybrid, since those have no drive shaft in the middle of the vehicle as the rear wheels are only powered by an electric motor, you never really have to worry about traction issues. And since this system is set up in this way, it actually coasts better, I find, on the highway. And obviously, you're gonna have all that traction at all time and better power distribution to all four wheels, which I think is really cool. Under the hood here, we have a 2.5-liter naturally aspirated flat 4-cylinder engine, and this is running on the Atkinson cycle for a little bit better efficiency in the cycle of this hybrid system. And of course, it is paired with 2 electric motors. Now, one of these motors is used to kind of start the engine in stop-start scenarios or when it just needs to kick on after being in EV mode, and the other motor acts as something that can power the wheels in short bursts from EV mode with the around 1.1 kilowatt-hour usable battery pack in this vehicle. Of course, fully self-charging hybrid system. You don't need to plug anything at all. And this is all sandwiched actually within the continuously variable transmission, or Subaru's Lineartronic CVT. It's also the most powerful Subaru Forester right now at 194 horsepower. Yes, long way back there used to be a turbo, but alas, this is now the most powerful Forester hybrid you're going to get. And with that actual electric motor built into the system, there's a little bit more of a nice instant boost you feel, I would say, from the electric torque, though. You know, overall, it's still not the quickest vehicle in the segment by far. And MPG numbers are actually quite good, around 35 combined. I've been seeing around 37 combined in the real world, actually, though it isn't the best out of its class. We're still seeing better numbers out of some of its competitors, reaching up to almost 39, 40 MPG in some cases, though this does have an incredible amount of range. Subaru claims, the EPA claims as well, over 580 miles, as this still has a pretty big fuel tank at around 16.6 gallons in combination with this hybrid system. So overall, I think it's a pretty good package, but let's go point out all of the other cool features that this vehicle gets versus the regular gas-only Forester. Now, some cool unique features that this Forester hybrid is getting that the gas model isn't getting are actually some unique paint options. So there are actually plenty of paint colors and combinations you can get on the all-new Forester, which I think is awesome. I like to have more colors on cars versus just black and gray and white that we see all the time. This is a really nice two-tone finish, autumn green metallic, and I believe as of right now, you can only get the two-tone finish on the hybrid model. So we have a black upper painted roof section and this really nice autumn green metallic paint color on the rest of the body, and it's only a $500 option as well on the vehicle. Otherwise, it looks just like the regular gas Forester. Now, this is a touring specification here, fully loaded at around $43,000. Of course, we're getting full LED headlights with the LED daytime running lights up here. We do have turning adaptive LED lights as well. They kind of steer with the vehicle, which is quite nice. And you know, this is the newer design we've been seeing across the Forester lineup, much more restrained than what we're seeing on the all-new Outback, for example. So I think this is actually now a more appealing vehicle than that in that case. We have a big black painted gloss front grille area over here. Of course, this one is also getting a front camera as well, which is really helpful in some parking situations, or if you want to take this on some light off-roading as well. And we, of course, nice open slim section down here. We do still have fog lights on the vehicle as well, which is really nice. So really great visibility in the front of the vehicle. Lots of nice sculpture on the front hood and bodywork, and all of this is in design with Subaru's main highlights of being a safe and easy to use vehicle. All of part of the body and all of the greenhouses, a lot of glass, lots of visibility. Now coming over to the side of the Subaru Forester Hybrid, this is really one of the main areas you're going to be able to tell that this is a hybrid vehicle with this really unique hybrid badge. And I say really unique because Subaru is very proud that this hybrid system uses their famed Boxer engine, so they have actually put the horizontally opposed pistons in this hybrid badge logo right here, which I think is really, really cool. We've seen all of this other stuff, very familiar to every other Subaru Forester as well. We have this kind of pass-through for aerodynamic efficiency right there. And these are these nice 19-inch wheels we're getting on this touring trim. Subaru has made some modifications to the suspension as well as the brakes, since we do have regenerative braking now on this hybrid, just very mild regenerative braking. The braking feel has just been slightly retuned, and the suspension has been slightly softened and reworked to factor in the extra weight of the hybrid battery and the hybrid system as well. But honestly, in driving dynamics on the road, it doesn't really feel any different, which is a really, really good thing. Now coming around to this area of the rear end of the all-new Subaru Forester Hybrid, again, nothing has really changed versus the regular Subaru Forester gas other than this hybrid badge back here, again with that really cool horizontally opposed piston design. We have this kind of faux light bar-esque design still with the rear taillights, of course LED combination taillights back here, and of course we're getting that massive Subaru moonroof, which does still open, which I absolutely love in the Forester. And you still have that symmetrical all-wheel drive badge right here on this rear pillar, because of course this is still Subaru's signature symmetrical all-wheel drive system in this Forester Hybrid. Coming back here, we get still one exhaust port out here right back, and of course parking sensors lined around the rear of the Subaru Forester Hybrid, so that's really helpful, and a really great 360 camera system on the vehicle as well. Now, since this is the touring trim, we do get a full powered tailgate. We can also kick to open the tailgate as well. If I have the key fob on me, you can actually turn that feature off within the vehicle, which is kind of cool via a button. But the great thing about this vehicle, which I think is really nice, is that there's no compromises in terms of cargo space for getting the hybrid. You're still getting around the same cargo space as the regular gas Forester, plus or minus around 1 cubic feet, just with I think all of the really nice mats we have back here. And Subaru does a really cool job with really bringing this space to life with a lot of Subaru Easter eggs. We have the Forester logo in the back cargo mat over here with this really cool kind of adventure-esque terrain pattern. Same thing on the sill plate over here. There's like this cool mountain pattern. And if you look right up here, you're gonna find an LED lights up here as well as a cool Subaru badge with a compass and some other fun stuff. Of course, there's lots of accessories and stuff you can get on Subaru's website for this rear cargo area. This one does have the cargo cover up here, which is quite nice. Lifting up the floor under here, let's see if we have a spare. And oh no spare in this vehicle, of course, because the hybrid system is taking up in that place right back here. So again, Subaru's done a really great packaging with this hybrid system in the vehicle. It's not really taking up any cargo space, which I quite like. We do have, of course, our subwoofer back here for the Harman Kardon audio system, since we are in the touring trim as well. And of course, we can fold the seats down with these little latches right here. But of course, you do have to pull them up manually, which is fine. But that is going to unlock almost 70 cubic feet of cargo space in this Forester Hybrid. So really impressive amounts of storage space. And Subaru's rear trunk area is so wide and boxy, which makes things loading in and out very, very easy as well. Okay guys, let's go take a tour of the rear seats now of this Subaru Forester Hybrid. We have our Subaru key fob here. Nothing different on this vehicle. Of course, full keyless access though. I'm surprised the Forester Touring still doesn't even get power folding mirrors, which is a little frustrating. Nonetheless, let's go have a look back here. We do get rear privacy glass, which is nice. Open up the door here, solid thunk. Pretty solid actually, nice and secure. solid rigid frame. Back of the door panels on the Subaru Forester, nothing too crazy. Even on this touring trim model, we do have mostly injection molded plastic, harder plastics up here, though we do have this really nice kind of ultra suede style material on the side of the doors over here, and some contrasting copper brown stitching. Decent size area over here for some cup holders on the door, and again some fun Easter eggs that we're seeing across the Subaru lineup here with this little paw prints, and even some Subaru stars on this kind of tread plate over here, which is really nice. Now hopping inside of the Forester, we have a really nice big wide opening on the vehicle. I would say almost a 90-degree angle actually on this door opening as well. Really, really nice. And you can see the mud is all trapped on the outside because the door sills go all the way down, so your pant legs or something won't get dirty in the vehicle. It looks like we have some ventage over here for the hybrid battery. This is very common. We've seen on some Toyota supplied electric battery units, which this is using. Nice, again, solid door thunk in the vehicle. And I have a really, really great amount of space back here. Just like we saw in the gas Forester, this is a pretty spacious vehicle for passengers, even in the rear seats. This one is getting a 2-layer, it looks like, storage cubby on the back of these leather seats we have on this particular touring trim. Same thing on the passenger side, which I think is really nice. Have a look over here in the center console area, and we're gonna find our own air vents, rear heated outboard seats, as well as a USB-C and a USB 8 ports, which are illuminated at night, which is quite nice. No storage or cup holders in the center console. We have a very minor bump in the floor for our drivetrain going to the back wheels over there, and of course we see the same design we saw on those door panels, and these seats are actually quite comfortable back here. We have a combination mix of leather and this micro suede material on the touring trim, which is nice. We also find that on the upper portion of the seats in the center console area over here, where we're going to find 2 cup holders, which is a nice touch here. And this car is big enough to fit 3 people in this rear seat, so I can sit in the center area right here, and you can see either passenger on the side of me has enough space actually still to go on a trip or something, which is nice. Now headroom is also quite good in here. We have a very tall roof, and even with this massive moonroof in the Subaru Forester, I think the headroom is actually still good back here, which I really, really appreciate. We also have LED lights in this particular one as part of an LED lighting upgrade, but not all the interior lighting is LED, which is interesting. And here we can find one of those cool little Easter eggs. There's a little bird back here, and if you look back on the rear of the Forester, you'll actually find a little mountain on the rear glass, which is a fun little touch. Now let's go hop up front now on the Forester Hybrid, because this is where some more significant changes have happened. On the door cards over here, we're going to get a little bit more of that nicer micro suede material. We have some gloss black accents around here. Again, very similar to what we see on the regular gas Subaru Forester. Again, nice big opening over here. We don't have all-weather floor mats on this particular model, though I do like the hybrid badge on here, which is cool. And we can see our front driver and passenger seats here with those micro suede bolsters, the copper accents on the side. They're pretty comfortable seat, even though I think that the seating position in this car is a little too high almost. But let's hop inside. You can see we have some power adjustment here. Again, really incredibly wide door opening in these Subaru Foresters, really easy to get in and out of. Again, nice solid thunk there. And here we are on the interior of this Subaru Forester Hybrid, and here's where we're going to find some unique features that only the hybrid model can get. Let's start up the vehicle, put our foot on the brake with an engine start stop button here. And if you can point this out already, yes, we finally have a digital gauge cluster in a Subaru model. This has been a long time coming for us US customers. This is actually launched at Subaru in Japan for almost 2 years now, I think, 2 or 3 years. So this is not technically all new, but for us in the US, it is new. And the hybrid models are the only ones that I believe get it right now, as well as a new WRX variant. So let's go over the new unique features we're going to get in this Forester Hybrid. So there actually is more sound insulating material throughout like the door areas to make this vehicle a little bit more quiet, since it is the hybrid and it can run in EV mode at some time. So you want it to be a little bit more quiet in this cabin. So that makes this a much more refined experience actually than a regular Forester. We're also getting now an EV mode button over here. So at very low speeds and around town, you can actually press this button, activate EV mode. It's unavailable right now, even though it says it is an EV mode, and just kind of cruise around in just pure electric battery. If you have enough charge in the high voltage battery, which you can check on this digital cluster over here. So that's the really main new features here, as well as this digital cluster we have right here. So as you can see right now, we are in the map view. And the cool thing with this map view is it doesn't only just work with Subaru's built-in navigation system, it also works with things like Apple Maps, as well as your Waze through Apple CarPlay. I believe Android Auto, this should work as well. That will also pop up on there, which I think is really cool. Now you can actually change these two cards really easily. So via the left-hand side of your steering column, you have this little button here, and this will actually cycle through a few different menus you can find on the left-hand side of your digital cluster. So we have a mobile device connection, we have navigation, we have tire pressure, we also have live runtime, as well as our live MPG, trip computer as well. So over the course of 185 miles, I have gone an average of 36.8 MPG in this Forester as well. And we still have, and then you can kind of reduce the size and make it just this little power charge eco meter. It's not, well, this right-hand side will always show your speed, but if you turn off lane centering, this will actually get smaller. Or if you turn on your eyesight controls, you'll get more controls to display right there. Now, if you want to change the display view of this digital cluster, we actually have to hold down this little button here on the left-hand side. And you do have to hold it. You don't just press it. You have to hold it. So I'm going to watch what happens when I hold it now. Holding, and you're going to see it's changing now. So this is our driver assisted view screen right here. So right now it's not showing too much, but it'll show things in your blind spot around the vehicle, which is really cool. And if you turn on your eyesight system here, you're going to get more views here. So we have our steering assist icons as well. And if we kind of cycle through these gauges, we're going to get that screen to pop back up there as well, which is really cool. Now we can also hold this button one more time, and you're going to get a more traditional gauge view. So this looks like your regular Subaru gauges right here with our center, kind of instrument cluster, but these have a cool kind of like metallic effect to them. So they look like almost real gauges in a sense. If you don't like the map or the other view, you can just use this, and you can actually just get rid of the screen by cycling through it, and you'll just have two good old gauges right there. But of course, the left hand is unique to this vehicle because it is a hybrid. But I actually like to see what's happening with my battery and motor. And I really like this little Easter egg here. Subaru put, there's that same hybrid badge right there in blue with the horizontally opposed pistons. There's actually 4 cylinders in the Boxster layout right there to show when the engine is on. I think that's a really cool touch. You have your battery status right there to see the charge level, and this center wheel icon is just showing what is powering the wheels at whatever time, or where that power flow is going. So it could be regenning that battery pack, for example. So really cool stuff there. I think they actually did a really good job with that digital cluster in this vehicle. It looks really nice, pretty good graphics actually, and very simple and clear and easy to use. Steering wheel, nothing too different here. Lots of analog buttons. That is a big thing for Subaru. A lot of their customers still love analog buttons, and they listen and they keep them in the vehicle, even though they're, getting a little bit old, I would say, in terms of their design. Automatic headlights, automatic wipers as well, which is a really nice touch. And of course, we still have a very familiar infotainment system in the Subaru Forester Hybrid, which we just dislike. It's just not a really good system. On the startup of the vehicle, every single time this week I've gotten into this car, the infotainment system takes around 30, almost up to a minute, 30 seconds to a minute to just kind of load, and things can get very, very slow and laggy. Even just now, after the vehicle has been sitting here on, you can kind of see just how slow to respond some of these screen motions can take. And if you press things in a little bit of a quicker procession, they might actually take a little bit too long to load, which is a little bit frustrating. There isn't actually any hybrid information in this center infotainment screen as well. And as you can see right now, from certain angles with certain light, the screen kind of becomes a little bit unusable. You just can't see it that well, which is a little bit frustrating as well. So I really would like to see this updated Subaru coming soon. I know the new Outback has an all-new screen. Maybe we'll see that in a Forester update down the road. But it's pretty easy to use, I would say. It's just things take a little bit long to kind of actuate, and all the stuff is baked into the screen, including our climate controls. So we thankfully always have these climate control buttons down here. Since we do have the touring model, we do get ventilated front seats, so 3 stages of ventilation, which is actually quite nice. We do have a quick access to some vehicle settings here, so we still have X modes in this hybrid, which is really nice. So we can adjust our amount of traction distribution to all 4 wheels via these 3 different modes there. This will also pop up in our upper multi-function panel over here. figure. There it is. So we have snow, dirt, normal, deep snow, mud. So you can kind of quick access those right there, which is really nice. Auto vehicle hold is always a button there as well. Easy access to manage all of your devices in the vehicle, which is kind of nice. And we have facial recognition via this camera sensor up here. I'm not sure if it's coming on camera, but if you hop into a vehicle, you can actually set driver profiles right here. It scans your face and it will actually set your seat adjustments to where you like, maybe your climate controls and some other few settings, which I think is a pretty nice touch there as well. Also in this vehicle, we have built-in navigation, but like I mentioned, we can use wireless Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to use that. And we have some physical buttons still here. So we have a tune scroll button, as well as a physical volume knob as well, which is nice. And physical buttons to change our temperature adjustment as well. Down here, we do have a wireless charging mat that can actually be turned on and off. So if you want to use this as storage, you can actually do that pretty easily. So I like that button and feature right there. And we still get a USB-C and a port over here as well as a headphone jack, which is kind of interesting. A lot of the materials on here are still pretty typical for the Forester, mostly plastic based. We have some kind of rougher but more soft touch materials over here with the stitching. Very just traditional, simple gear selector as well. Park, reverse, neutral, drive. We have a manual mode as well if you would like to kind of change the simulated gears in this continuously variable transmission here. We do have paddle shifters for that as well. So every Subaru model, I think, has paddle shifters at this point. And I do like this one design piece they've done in the Forester interior. It's this kind of unique dash component here with this contrasted copper stitching there with a little bit of a faux wood-esque or almost like faux aluminum design over here for trim. Glove box is actually a pretty decent size in this vehicle as well. So really no complaints there whatsoever. Close that up. And again, the seats, like I mentioned, are actually quite comfortable generally. I just think the driving position is very high in this vehicle, though I think for most people that is a good thing. This is my eye level, for example, and you can just see how much visibility you have in this vehicle. You can easily see all of your blind spots. You can see out of the vehicle. They've positioned the A-pillars in a way where you really don't ever have a blind spot when you're kind of looking out for traffic and stuff as well. Seeing over the hood is pretty easy as well. And I'm sitting in the lowest position of the seat. I can actually make this even higher. I'm not sure if this is coming across on camera, but I can get really high up in this seat. So if visibility is a problem for you, definitely check out a Subaru because that's really going to help out there. And this one does have the optional digital rear view camera system, and I like where they placed it because you can actually clean it easily by just using the rear wiper as well, so which is nice. And of course, that can just be a regular camera if you do so. I mean, a regular mirror if you do so want as well. And it almost has this frameless-like design, which is really nice on the vehicle. We don't appear to have home link though in this vehicle, so if you want to use your garage controls, it doesn't look like we actually have that in this Subaru Forester, though if I'm wrong, someone please correct me, but typically it would be up in this area. Our sun visors are pretty big as well, and while they may not slide back, they do have an extension piece right here to kind of help block the sun in some certain scenarios. We do have illumination, but unfortunately these are not LEDs, so it's a little bit weird when these just don't match each other. I wish they could have just, swapped in an LED bulb there instead of that yellow or halogen bulb. Otherwise, we do have our camera system in this vehicle as well, which actually is quite good to use when they're on, but unfortunately it's just a kind of a hassle to kind of access the camera system. It doesn't really allow you to like scroll through it like that. It kind of does that little animated thing, and only when you're in drive for whatever reason the full camera system really actually comes up. And you can see right here we're having that issue where you can't see the screen in certain lighting situations, but we do have that front camera system right there. You can see that front kind of panoramic view. You press the button again and you should be able to cycle through a 360 view. You have some front views for your front two wheels, which is really cool, and you can see that front main view right there. So that's all the systems for the camera system. Otherwise, guys, let's go take this thing on a drive and see how this hybrid powertrain feels out on the road. So of course, highlights I would say is I really like this hybrid system. It's really smooth. I think Subaru did a great job at tuning their flat 4 engine paired with those electric motors in between their CVT and having it in a sense where all power is going to all 4 wheels at all times via the engine or electric motors, not just via a rear E-axle that has no physical connection to the front axle. So I like that it's more traditional. It's almost a mechanical still. I mean, it is basically still like a full mechanical all-wheel drive system in a sense versus some of the competition. I like that. It works well, but it does kind of hinder fuel economy just a bit versus the competition. You know, those we're seeing 38, 39, maybe 40 MPG, rarely in some cases. This we're seeing around 36, 37, around that area. At least I've been seeing that over the course of this week in testing. So maybe a little bit of a hindrance on fuel economy, but I think it could be a little bit better than a regular Forester, and you're getting just a little boost in power over a regular Forester of just around 194-ish horsepower. Obviously not a lot, but that is actually one of the areas where I think this vehicle could have done a little bit better. Again, some of its competition, well, most of the competition is all north of 200, even north of 210 in most cases as well. So they have a little bit of a power advantage over this Forester at the price point. So that's something to consider if you're looking at other vehicles in this class. We have this SI drive here, which just, you know, increases throttle response. So you can see there, it's actually a little bit more of a quicker feeling. But one of the really cool things about this system with the full-time all-wheel drive system and this lower center of gravity with Subaru's symmetrical all-wheel drive and boxer engine is that, you know, this is not, I wouldn't say the most dynamic feeling hybrid SUV in this class, but it handles so great. It handles like a Subaru. It drives like every other Subaru. It doesn't feel overly top heavy or have a higher center of gravity really that much versus a regular Forester. It still feels nice, low, and planted through corners. So it may not have, you know, the best body or in a sense, but it has a really great, it's a low center of gravity, very neutral handling through corners, and it feels very secure in that sense. I honestly cannot say the same about something like a RAV4 hybrid. That does not feel very confident in its handling capabilities, actually, in my opinion. It feels very top heavy, and I honestly don't really enjoy chucking that car into a corner. It just doesn't feel like it wants to do it at all. This is different. It actually feels very secure in a sense. The CX-50 hybrid, on the other end, has much more of a dynamic feeling nature, even though the body roll feels a little bit more intense on that car. It's because it is actually sharing the identical engine and full hybrid e-axle system from the RAV4 hybrid. And since we are merging onto the highway, I am actually going to pop it into Sport Sharp. So we have Intelligent and Sport Sharp, or not, actually this is not Sport Sharp, this is just Sport. You'll need it, honestly. So here we'll do a quick acceleration test up to highway speeds. So in Sport, I could definitely tell you it feels a little bit more zippy, even though, you know, you're not getting any sort of more power. It's really just that throttle mapping. It's just a little bit more aggressive than the regular mode. So it does feel a little bit quicker. Getting to, let's say, 60 miles an hour, it's going to take like 8.5 to 9 seconds in that sense. You know, add in more people into the vehicle, it's going to be a little bit slower in that area. Now out here on the highway, a good system that Subaru has always had is their eyesight system, and I would say with this new digital cluster, it's really been enhanced in terms of its visuals. It's just been expanded, I'd say. So I like the blind spot nature to it. All of those cameras up front up here are being used for eyesight, so we can pop that on and just activate our cruise control on the top button, set our speed, which activates that, and we have our active steering assist, which you can activate or deactivate with the steering wheel button, which is pretty cool. And we also have driver facial monitoring as well. So there's a camera in there looking at your face. That's, again, optional, so you can turn that off if you don't like it. Eyesight still works just as good, I would say, as it used to be. Following distance is really easy to adjust. You have a lot of different adjustment for your following distance as well, which I really like. And this steering assist, again, it really is an assist. You can sort of let it, you know, try to drive itself, even though you're supposed to always have your hands on this, and it works pretty well. I like these little LED lights up here that kind of indicate what's going on there. But it isn't the most advanced system in the market, but you know, in this class there isn't much more advanced systems. They all kind of pretty much do the exact same thing in this kind of sense. You have steering assist, full steering assist in this application, not just lane keep assist, except for the Mazda CX-50 hybrid that did not have this feature, at least the one that we tested. Again, I also want to note it is actually a little bit quieter than the regular gas Subaru Forester. So Subaru actually added in more sound insulating material versus the regular Forester, just because, you know, this is a hybrid. There will be more times where you'll have that ability to be in EV mode, though as you can hear potentially on camera, it is not completely quiet. It is still actually a little bit loud. There is quite a bit of road noise coming from this vehicle. I think largely due to the fact that there's just massive panels, and I truly mean some of the biggest panels of glass in the automotive industry, with really big side windows, really big front windshield. And again, all of this is aiding in the fact that we have incredible visibility out of this Forester, so you can see really everything around you really, really well, which is great. I wouldn't say there's a lot of road noise coming from under the vehicle at all. It's really just, I think, a lot of this glass. And it is generally quite comfortable of a suspension. They retuned it with the extra weight of the vehicle, but I have to say it still soaks up bumps really well. I did like that about the last Forester we tested of this generation. But you know, overall, I think after this week of testing, this isn't a colossal jump in fuel economy over a regular Forester. It is definitely an improvement, and I would say around town scenarios, you're definitely going to see an improvement in fuel economy. And I think the real reason for this vehicle isn't the mild boost in fuel economy. I think it's the total overall range factor. This car has an EPA rated range of like 580-ish miles. I think you can get around 600 miles in this car. Honestly, it's really, really impressive. When I got in at the beginning of this week, it was just around full, and it had over 500 miles of range, and I totally can attest to that. It's been a full week of driving. I've traveled 212.3 miles, and we have a lot of fuel left in this tank, and of course I could just take regular. You know, otherwise, guys, I would definitely consider this over a normal Forester. You know, you're getting some more enhanced standard features like this digital cluster over here, some unique paint options. You're getting a little bit of a quieter interior, as well as a small power bump over a regular Forester, and I just think this is a much smoother and more calmer and just comfortable ride than the regular Forester with this hybrid system. It's really, really well tuned in its application. I would say that start-stop transition is borderline seamless and uninterrupted. So I actually like it. I think it's one of the most refined Foresters in that sense that you can get right now. It keeps all of its cargo space, it keeps all of the same capability, all-wheel drive, X modes, 8.7 inches of ground clearance, and that great, signature Subaru driving experience is all here. So in that sense, they did a great job. I just wish some things were just a little bit nicer for a 2025 all-new vehicle. That being said, thank you guys for joining us on this full weekend review with the 2025 Forester Hybrid Touring. And as always, stay tuned for more coming soon on Allcarnews. Cheers.